It's Thursday, January 8th, 2026, and today we need to discuss the upcoming cold for the east and potentially that southern snow chance, that east coast snow chance I've been talking about. This right here would be very, very cold air diving into the Gulf, definitely giving us an opportunity again for that southern and easterly snow. We also have a system moving up through the plains over the next couple of days. This is dropping some snow in the Rockies, and it's going to put some snow up through portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. We have severe weather over the next 72 hours we need to discuss as well. And the ensemble still like a large Alaskan ridge, pushing a lot of that cold air and promoting maybe some nice winter storm tracks out east for the second half of January. So we're going to go over all of that in this video. As always, I appreciate you guys joining me. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And of course, if you like the video, like the video. Let's get into the weather. As always, let's start with a live look at our weather across the states. We do still have some winter storm warnings up here through portions of the Cascades. You can see through Oregon and Washington. We do also have some winter storm warnings through portions of New Mexico and Colorado. These are probably welcomed because you guys have been looking for some snow in these regions. Now, we do have a mesoscale discussion through portions of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, and you can see we have some severe thunderstorm warnings here. It is possible to get a spin up along this boundary. You can see this QLCS forming or squall line forming, moving out to the east. Later in this video, we will go more into this severe weather threat and how it progresses throughout the next couple of days. But of course, if you're out here, portions of the central to southern plains, Dixie Valley, Ohio Valley, even portions of the southeast over the next 72 hours, you're going to want to have a way to receive weather alerts because we could see, like I said, some damaging winds, some hail, and a couple spin-ups. I did want to show you our latest 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Now, obviously, very warm for the west, not too bad for the east, except for upper New England. Could be running a little bit above average during this time frame. But look what happens as we get into the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. Big cool down out east, especially through portions of the Ohio Valley and Midwest. And this is going to be the time frame where we could get an opportunity for southern snow, for coastal snow as well. Let's get into our 3 to 4 week outlook. Still expect it to be running below average through portions of the northern Rockies, northern plains, Midwest, Great Lake region, Mid-Atlantic, and New England. Really not too bad in the southeast, maybe only running slightly above average in the 3 to 4 week range here from the Climate Prediction Center. Still a little bit warm out west, of course, especially in the southwest. And I know people out there aren't happy to see this after how warm it was in December. Precipitation wise, 6 to 10 day forecast, we are dry out west. You can see though, northern plains, portions of the Midwest, Great Lakes region, we could see a lot of precipitation down there in the southeast as well, Florida and along the Atlantic coast. 8 to 14 day outlook, not too different really. Dry in the west, a lot of the same areas, still expected to see above average precipitation. And then as we push out to the 3 to 4 week range, I don't think the models know what's going to happen here at all when it comes to precipitation, but there it is. Maybe we actually dry up a little bit in New England and then down in the southeast. Let's get into our 7 to 10 day forecast. Here's the latest 00Z from the Euro. This came out last night. We're going to have a storm system today pushing through the plains up towards the Great Lakes region, and we're going to get a little bit of snow production likely on the northwestern side of this. Not expected to be a lot of snow, but as I've said before, I think over the next few days, a lot of people will see a little bit of snow out through the plains and through the Midwest. Obviously on the southern side of this, just rain. So for places like Chicago, Detroit, probably even Milwaukee, Madison, Eau Claire, St. Louis, Des Moines, you guys will probably mostly just see rain from this. But you can see that cold air diving into the southwest. We're getting some snow in the mountains there in the central to southern Rockies, which is good. And we can see our funnel of moisture begins to kick on through portions of Dixie Valley up through the Ohio Valley, pushing up towards the northeast. Getting through Friday and into Saturday, we get some more moisture streaming through this region here. If you're out here, make sure you have a way to get alerts. And I'm not just talking about for severe weather, but we could have the risk for some flash flooding out here. There's going to be a lot of precipitation falling through portions of Dixie Valley, Ohio Valley, and southeast, like I said, over the next few days, especially Tennessee, portions of Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, and then West Virginia. We could see some pretty high rain totals here. Now, as we're getting into Saturday, we start to get a trough diving down into the states. This could kick on some lake effect snow, but we're going to start to cool down through the upper Midwest and then through the Great Lakes region, and this system's going to dive out towards the coast. Now, we could get some flurries of snow as we get into Sunday through portions of New England. Maybe they try to get out towards the coast, but for the most part, not a major storm system. As we get into early next week, we begin to get dry and we warm up out west. Maybe a little bit of moisture still streaming into the Pacific Northwest, specifically up towards the Seattle region. But for the most part, you can see we have a ridge building out west. So dry and warm, and this is what's going to help set up this very cold air that likely will try to dive down and get down towards the Gulf of Mexico, okay? This cold air is going to flow downstream of this ridge. You can see this trough collapsing here, and now suddenly we have our 540 freezing line touching the Gulf, and this is going to try to pick up some moisture and move it up the coast. This is a setup for a nor'easter. Doesn't mean we're going to see a nor'easter. I've said this before, and I was talking about it on stream last night. If you get a low pressure system that's too far inland, it's all rain for the coast. It's too far out to sea, it's dry for the coast. You really need the perfect storm track. So when I tell you this is a nor'easter setup, I mean it, but you still need a little bit of luck with your storm track. You can see what happened happens here as we get into the 15th and 16th, our storm system begins to move up the coast. We have the cold air along the coast. We have the storm system. On this run of the Euro, the storm system is too far off the coast. Now we keep moving forward here. We get some snow, and this is getting into next weekend or late next week into next weekend. We get some snow flying up there in the upper Midwest Great Lakes region, and we have another opportunity here. We have another storm system trying to move through the south up the coast. Some more cold air diving in. This is an opportunity here as well. 18th, 19th, a little bit far out, 9-10 days out, but we've continued to see this pattern, so we'll talk about it a little bit. I usually don't like going this far out. Again, this is an opportunity for some snow in the south where we get this baroclinic boundary forming. You get a low pressure system with moisture moving up the coast. You get cold air, our 540 line driving out towards the coast. This is a very interesting time frame. Don't pay attention to where the precipitation is on the map out this far. The models have no idea where the precipitation is going to be, but pay attention to the fact that we have cold air driving into the Gulf, driving down towards the Atlantic, and we have a little bit of a active subtropical jet, and we have moisture available there. So very interesting time frame. I'd say all the way from January 14th through January 22nd. What happens with these troughing systems and all this moisture? Because we could see some good snow for someone in the south or out east. Here's how the GFS sees it. You can see we have an opportunity here around the 14th, 15th. There's our storm system moving up the coast, cold air. You get another opportunity here. The GFS does see kind of a mini type of nor'easter here for New England, putting some good snow potentially down into Boston, up through Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. Here's how the Canadian sees it. The Canadian does see this storm going up the coast and then maybe dropping some snow from DC up through Boston. This is probably the closest look to a nor'easter that we're seeing right here from the Canadian. And then if we take a look at our GraphCast, I just want to show you the GraphCast has these storm systems driving up the coast with that freezing air pushing down into the Gulf and pushing out towards the Atlantic as well. And then it also agrees with the Euro that we have another trough following behind that with some moisture available as well. So again, an active time frame as we get into late next week and late next weekend. Something exciting could happen. I'll continue to watch. Again, we don't know. It's outside of forecasting range. We don't know who's going to see precipitation, who's going to see rain, who's going to see snow. But what we do know is the models are starting to agree, the ensembles are starting to agree, and the pattern looks favorable for one or two good winter storms here. I quickly want to run through our temperature anomalies here over the next 7 to 10 days. Obviously, we're pretty warm here through the center of the country right now. That warm air is going to push out east as we get into Friday and Saturday. We start to cool down out west. We got some storm systems moving into the west. And then as we get into Sunday and Monday, trough begins to push down. We get a little bit of relief. We get actually below average temperatures. And in January, this is pretty cold, pushing down into the Ohio Valley, down into the southeast, out towards the mid-Atlantic, maybe out towards New England as well. That quickly is replaced in the middle of next week as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, more warm air. But guess what? Right behind that, Thursday, Friday, the end of next week, here's another system. Now, this cold air is what could try to link up with some moisture and put some snow down somewhere here, like I said, in the south through the Ohio Valley, maybe out towards the coast. So we need to watch this closely. And as we get towards the end of next weekend, you can see a lot of cold air trying to push towards the central to southern plains as well. Looking pretty cold down there through portions of New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma. We get into the 19th, 20th. We're getting pretty far out now, but if we were to see these temperature anomalies around the 19th and 20th, I've said it before, on average, the coldest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, we could definitely see record-setting temperatures, all-time record lows here, if we were to see this occur. So that's why I'm saying very, very interesting pattern ahead. Definitely could see record-setting temperatures with this. I mean, if you're running 20 to 30 degrees below average around January 20th, you're going to be pretty far down in the negatives. I'm telling you that. Our ensembles continue to show an extremely negative EPO, an extremely amplified ridge up over Alaska as we get out towards the 18th and 19th, allowing a lot of cold air to flow downstream into the states. How much blocking do we get out to the east? Can we get some blocking over Greenland? If we can, again, East Coast snowstorms, watch out for that. This is a favorable pattern still for the second half of January, cooler than average, maybe a little stormier than average. I said it in my stream last night. The only thing that could hold us back, I think, is if our MJO does amplify up into phase 6, up into phase 7, while we're getting this very cold oscillation set up for the eastern U.S. This is warm for the eastern U.S. in January, phase 6 and phase 7. Although this is starting to look like we're going to skip phase 6. If this does just move through phase 7 and we're quickly transitioning back into phase 8, which is cold for the east in January, we still may have a very cold end of January and early February. Also, this ridge, this negative EPO is so prominent. We may be in a situation where it just tries to ignore the warmth that the MJO is trying to provide for the east, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. We do have severe weather today, tomorrow, and Saturday. As you can see right now, we have a slight risk through portions of central Oklahoma. Tomorrow, that slight risk moves out. It encompasses portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And then we have a marginal risk that stretches out as we get into Saturday for portions of southeastern Louisiana, southeastern Mississippi, and then through Alabama, Georgia, portions of the Carolinas, southern Virginia, and eastern Tennessee. Our severe weather through portions of Dixie Alley and the southern plains right now is currently ongoing, but you can see we do have a 5% tornado risk. So make sure if you're in this region today, you have your weather alerts on. We're talking portions of Missouri, Illinois, far western Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, of course, eastern Oklahoma, and then portions of northern Louisiana as well. Tomorrow, our tornado chances are going to increase. You can see we actually have a large 5% risk for tornadoes through portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and then a much larger 2% that encompasses the states around. Listen, have your alerts on. You don't want to get caught off guard. We also have damaging wind threat here and a little bit of a hail threat out in eastern Texas through Louisiana and central to southern Mississippi. And here's our Saturday outlook. You can see that marginal, as I said, is pushing out towards the southeast. We could see this upgraded to a slight. I think it's possible to get spin ups on Saturday as well. So just be aware of that. And again, as we get into tomorrow, watch for this excessive rainfall risk. If you're in this area, flash flooding is possible as well. I did want to spend more time in this video going over severe weather, but I'm actually traveling today, so I needed to wrap up this video. But like I said, a lot of things happening right now. And if you're a snow or winter lover, kind of an exciting opportunity as we get into the second half of January here with the setup that we have. I appreciate you guys watching this video. I make posts like this every day. I live stream every day. Obviously, I'm going to be out of town for a few days, so I'll have to take some time off. Should be back as we get into Monday next week. If you want to join an awesome weather community, the link to my Discord is in the description of all of my YouTube videos. It is Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Again, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream.